Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Commander Fodder. So, we have Rule of Law as our starting card. And this was obviously picked from doing leveraging MTGen to open a virtual pool of 6 packs of Mirrodin and picking at least one of the rares in there. I did pick a second card, and you'll see what it is in a moment, because it came up. So Rule of Law, 2 and a white, it's an enchantment, and each player can't play more than one spell each turn. So, sad to say, we have another fun plist deck in this series, which seems to have come up reasonably regularly, but I just go with, obviously, the pick. I suppose there were 4 other cards I could have picked, but none of them really took anything anywhere. Yeah, not. There were certainly cards that crop up less in EDH decks. Well, just against the edhrec ranking than this one. Now the other one that came up was Solemn Simulacrum, which is a good utility card. Fodder casts a 2/2, so 2/2 for 4. We've been seeing a lot of those actually, haven't we? Talking about them in the deck musings episode prior to this. So when it enters the battlefield, or when it comes into play, however you want to word that, you may search your library for a basic land card and put that card into play tapped. If you do, shuffle your library. And when Solemn Simulacrum is put into a graveyard from play, you may draw a card. I've stuck in 38 lands with artwork from the set. At this point in time, I haven't put in any copies of artifact lands. Just going to see where this goes, whether they even get suggested. Just simply because these are from Mirrodin, but I decided not to just stick them in because of that. So why is it green white? Well, it's because of this card. So here we have Kutlazul Malamet Exemplar, and it's a 1 green white legendary creature, Cat Warrior. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Whenever one or more creatures you control, each with power greater than its base power, deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. I'm just going to see where this takes me. So part of it, is similar-ish to what this does. And then we've got this other bit. So I'm going to just see where the edhrec algorithm that's sort of shrink wrapped into archidekt, or where that takes us, what journey it takes us on. I mean, we could end up going down cat tribal. Hate bears is a possibility. Who knows? I mean, if we're playing around, if it's looking at base power, then there could be some token shenanigans it might want to suggest to us. So we'll see. Okay. Well, it is definitely suggesting this lock stuff. So we should just go with that. Right. Just thinking here. Oh, this is going to be a really miserable deck to play against. And the other problem is we have to be super careful because, this one is symmetrical. And this one just is our opponent. So yeah, just something to bear in mind. But let's go with our original pick. Do we want to? If I pick that, okay, let's just see where this pivots. Okay. So maybe I should try something different. I've never tried this in previous episodes. Let's just pick the top 3 suggestions. I'm going to keep an eye on the number of creatures and then see how that revises where we're going. See if this keeps bubbling to the surface. So in these go. Okay, has that disappeared now? Yeah. Oh, this is miserable deck. We'll do some sample draws on this as well, but it's not going to really goldfish very well. Okay, let's stick with that strategy. Rule of 3s, I'm going to call it. Should we just keep doing this until we fill the deck? It's a bit lazy, I know. I'm just curious now. Can't help it. Okay. I'm going to have to rebalance the land at some point. Getting a lot of land. Let's go back out. Let's just change this. Okay. Eleven creatures, 4 artifacts, 3 instants, 1 sorcery. Okay, this is I'm going to just carry on with this experiment for the moment. Just see what we end up with. So we're going to let sort of fate decide, let the algorithm decide. So I'm going to carry on, just picking 3 cards from the top 3 suggestions of all the card types, and just see where that takes us. The only thing I'm not going to do, I mean, this one, we're in green white. The reason why it's able to suggest that is that it's referencing a card type, but they're not in the deck. So it's saying search for, it's not generating mana. So I'm going to skip over those. Okay. I didn't accidentally include one, I'll check. Gemstone Caverns, no. Where are we? Play Savannah. Okay. So I've never thought of doing this sort of thing before. What do they call it in, you know, when people do drafts like that where they say, oh, I'm only going to pick this. Oh dear, it has a name, doesn't it? Is it called like a criteria draft or something? No, I don't think that's the right word. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But when I used to watch a lot of like online deck building, and people had sort of been drafting a set for a while, particularly, was it Cube? Sometimes they get bored with the drafting. They'd sometimes stipulation draft. That's it. So this is a stipulation build. The stipulation being is that I pick the first 3 cards suggested, and then get the algorithm to reset it. Well, not reset itself, but re-lock on. Because if you don't keep doing searches, it won't take into consideration the cards you've added. That's why I'm doing that. Also, you'll see I'm choosing to ignore cards that, in the case of these fetch lands, don't fetch for both of the colours. But I am picking land if it comes to bubbles to the surface. So 1, Sylvan Library, crop rotation. So yeah, I'm just curious. It's just I can't see myself doing this a lot in future episodes, but I've never tried a stipulation pick on this. And in the comments section, if there's, you know, again, with these, I do like to just use the algorithm because I find suggestion algorithms fascinating. But if there's another sort of stipulation episode you'd like me to do for Commander Fodder, let me know. And not in terms of picking the card, but actually building the deck. Like, you know, what happens if I was to pick the bottom 3 choices, something like that. So let me know if that's something you'd like me to try out in a future episode. I'm probably more likely to try it on a card that I just look at and go, oh, yeah, that's going to be fun to try and build around. I'm curious as to how balanced the deck is in terms of the different card types. So 6 enchantments, 14 creatures, 4 artifacts, 6 instants, 2 sorceries, 38 land. That's not too bad, you know. It's yeah, we'll see. I'm a little bit concerned about the creatures, but it shouldn't be a problem yet. We might have to switch gear a little bit and then at some point just pick just creatures, but we'll see. Oh, Sarah Ascendant. Strange. Bird of Paradise. Ah, Windswept Heath, okay. Elvish Norn has bubbled up, which did cross my mind as to including in the deck anyway. although I was going to include it a little bit earlier. Sometimes when I do these episodes, I sometimes put it in, you know, so you know what I'm doing, and have it off on the sideboard, and then drag it in once I start picking cards. See, I wonder if Heliod's going to bubble up as well. Oh, I think it has. We've got a Mangle Horn. Is this going to be a good stuff fun plist deck? I think it might be, mightn't it? I've got a Grand Abolisher lurking there. Would be a suitable inclusion, I think. And we've got some dual lands in green-white. We do have Yavimaya as well. The Lotus Petal bubbled up there. Just going to dial back my lands here because I'm probably well over 40 now, yeah. Okay. And as this is a numerical exercise, I'm obviously not keeping a track on the cost of the deck. 24 creatures now, so 8 instants. Nothing else is getting excessive here. Not many artifacts, and look, they're all 0 cost as well, which is interesting. So if we carry on, wow, we've still got loads of slots here. Okay. Interesting. So what are we seeing now? At Cavern of Souls. Okay. Lotus Petal, Elvish Mystic. So now we're getting some mana dorks coming through. This is fascinating. I mean, I'm being incredibly lazy here, but this is certainly making me smile, which is what it's all about. Yeah, definitely fun, please, good stuff. This is funny. Okay, another 12. Yep, here they come. Did that already go in? There's a null rod there as well. Is that still there? Yeah. Players cannot play any artifact abilities requiring an activation cost. Ooh, that's mean. A lot of this stuff you're going to have to be really careful about where you play, otherwise you end up nerfing yourself. It's one of these high, what do I normally call it, like high neural load decks where you've got to really think so you don't end up locking yourself out. There was a particularly bad combination of cards which I don't know if I've inadvertently selected actually, which I checked beforehand. And I can't remember what it was, but it was in combination with Rule of Law, where in essence you lock down the game completely, and so nobody can really do anything at all. Including you. It's interesting, isn't it? It hasn't suggested any planeswalkers. So 6 cards, so just 2 lots of 3 really. Okay. Command Tower, Flowering the white tree. That's going to count as a land. Oh, finally. That's interesting, isn't it? So finally we get a soul ring. Okay, so let's try and do this as I go along. So one of those is a command tower. So if I do Path to Exile, that one, and that one, that should actually leave me with one more because one of those was a land. So we'll just go out, yeah, 100. And then what I'll do is, do I want to just play 38 land anyway? What's the curve look like? Wow, that's pretty low, actually. So if I take out a green, drops that down a little bit, we're down to 37. Do I want to take it to 36? Wow, this is... oh dear. I got an Eternal Witness. Oh, do I want to put Stony Silence in here? If that... yeah, I was going to say if some land bubbles up, I'm tempted to take those. Okay, let's do this. Okay. So we have a prismatic vista. I think if I then reduce the land down to 37. This is probably a pretty expensive deck, yeah. Part of that's obviously we've got a Savannah in here. Three sorceries, 10 instants, 35 creatures, 7 artifacts. One more card. I can't stop now, can I? Is that Prismatic Vista going to stay there? It's getting really confused now. It is. Oh, we've just had an overgrown farmland bubble up as well. Oh, what the hell? And an Arcane Signet. That's funny. And a Canopy Vista. Yeah, I'm going to have to stop in a moment. To see, what I was going to do is take this down to 36. That was why. Got so much fixing here. Okay, let's stop there. Wow. Okay, so export. Let's see what our draws are like. Okay, well, can't complain about that, can we? So we got turn 1 Elvish Mystic. I can, yep, turn to Aether Sworn Canonist. Emeria gets out. I don't if I want to crop rotate. Probably not. Yeah. What's this? Okay, so I can use that to find creatures. Okay, that as well. I've got nothing in the graveyard, so really there's no need to do that. Oh, blind obedience. Worldly tutor, so I can tutor for something. Yep, this is looking good. Oh yeah, loads of oh, look at that, loads of low cost mana cards. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. We'll just do a few sample hands. Can't really, gain any playability insight in this because, yeah, these sort of lockdown decks, it's difficult to, or playability against an opponent. I'm assuming your opponents will realise what you're up to. They're not going to be too happy. Actually, I didn't. When's that? Oh, that could be castable as well. Okay. So, anything here? I could just... It doesn't really... Okay, so assuming I had opponents, that would just come in and I'd have actually the green and white straight away. I cast... It really doesn't matter, I suppose. But I can simply play that. Play out that. Yep, so I can lock down. Play out my City of Brass. Cast that. Of course, I've got no protection from my commander, but probably doesn't matter too much. There's so much, what's the word I'm looking for? Like redundancy in the deck in terms of locking down stuff that I'm not too worried. Why not? What's that do? Okay, probably want to hold that back. Now, Heliod. Isn't a creature, okay. Nope, there's our command tower. Well, we're certainly making our drops anyway. Swords, yeah, so we've got lots of utility here. Oh, yeah. One more sample hand. So, Gemstone Cavern. Okay, if Gemstone is the opening hand and you're not a starting player, game of Gemstone Caverns on the battlefield. Okay. Let's pretend I am. Does it mention a luck counter? There we have a luck counter. Okay, it's percentile. Oh, there's the rule of law. get that out if we want to. At some point. Yeah, I wonder whether this is just basically worth holding on to until such a point as where you have a distinct advantage. You don't want to play it too early, you end up locking yourself down too much. And so on. Cool. So there we have it. If you want to make your opponents totally miserable, you can. And I was really curious to see what happened there. So just to recap, all I really did to build the deck once I started was just picked the top 3 cards, ignoring any fetch lands where they didn't fetch for the, you know, where they so any fetch lands that fetched for a colour of land that wasn't in the deck, I didn't pick those. But yeah, top 3 cards, and then just keep redoing the algorithm based on as the deck changes. It's an interesting exercise. Like I said, it's always interesting to play around with things like that, but I don't think it's something I'm going to repeat very often. But if there is a certain restriction on deck building you want me to try, beyond, obviously I've already added in the starting cards, but if you want me to try something similar in the future, just let me know, and I'll happily do that. Okay, thanks for watching, bye for now, and I will catch you in a future video.